The dramatic uncoupling of Prince Andrew and Sarah Ferguson from their long-held royal privileges has reached an undeniable climax. The eviction notice served for Royal Lodge signals far more than a mere change of address. It heralds the definitive end of an era for the former royal couple. This profound shift marks a radical and remarkable royal downfall. It represents a rare instance of such a comprehensive stripping of status. His trajectory from birthright to public disgrace is now complete. Prince Andrew, once known primarily by his royal title, finds himself divested of virtually everything. His titles and honors have been formally removed. The cherished Royal Lodge, a residence he staunchly defended for years, is no longer his secure sanctuary. This monumental decision by the king echoes the resolute actions of monarchs from bygone eras. It suggests a determination, reminiscent of a medieval sovereign asserting absolute authority. Sarah Ferguson, the former Duchess of York, finds herself inextricably caught in the unfolding drama. Her recent sale of a London townhouse raises pressing questions. Was this a strategic move, anticipating the brewing storm of royal disfavor? Or did she simply miscalculate the precise timing of this seismic institutional shift? The timing invites deep speculation about her foresight and planning. It suggests a potential awareness of impending changes. Observers are now scrutinizing why Ferguson continued to reside with Andrew long after their divorce. The immediate future of her living arrangements remains uncertain. This pivotal moment may finally represent a true fork in the road for the Yorks as a unified front. For those who this protracted saga, new, breaking details illuminate the eviction notice. These details include insights into a critical family summit. The intricate financial mechanics that allowed Royal Lodge to remain Andrew's domain for 2 decades are also coming to light. The second son of the late Queen Elizabeth, and brother to the reigning king, has been known as Prince Andrew since his birth. That designation has now been formally revoked. This action underscores a profound shift in the royal landscape. The king's decisive intervention is monumental in its scope and impact. His actions reflect a sovereign's power to reshape the very fabric of the royal family. Such an assertion of authority has historical parallels in the monarchy's long and complex past. The headlines are stark, even shocking to some royal watchers. A formal process has commenced to remove Andrew's remaining titles and honors. Simultaneously, a notice to vacate Royal Lodge has been officially served. This marks a clear and undeniable turning point. It follows years of his gradual retreat from public royal duties. With his titles gone and living arrangements under intense scrutiny, the royal landscape has transformed almost overnight. To fully grasp the explosive nature of this situation, understanding the historical context of Royal Lodge is crucial. Andrew secured a long-term lease for the property in the early 2000s. He paid a token rent, a customary arrangement for senior royals. He also personally funded extensive refurbishments. This arrangement, a grand mansion with minimal rent and no immediate pressure to vacate, consistently presented tricky optics. The lease is now under renewed pressure. The eviction notice fundamentally alters this long-standing arrangement. Some critics view Andrew's past conduct as attention-seeking. They question the notion that King Charles would halt his significant duties to provide an exclusive moment for Andrew. This perspective highlights a perceived disconnect from royal priorities. Fair questions have been directed at Andrew regarding his public role and conduct. The transition of Royal Lodge from a private arrangement to a public problem is now complete. Sarah Ferguson, despite her divorce from Andrew decades ago, maintained her residence at Royal Lodge. This continued cohabitation persisted long after their children had grown, moved out, and established their families. The reasons for Sarah Ferguson's continued residence with Andrew after their divorce are multifaceted. They appear to be a blend of practicality, complex family dynamics, and lifestyle considerations. Royal Lodge offered an unparalleled combination of privacy, security, and ample space. It provided an ideal setting for hosting their children and grandchildren. Furthermore, it conferred a level of status and prestige that a conventional private residence could not possibly match. This situation extends far beyond a simple matter of who lives where. It delves into a much larger, darker narrative of royal entanglement and dependence. Andrew Lowney's meticulously researched book, entitled, delves deeply into these intricate dynamics. The author dedicated 4 years to its comprehensive research. The incredible financial advantage of significantly reduced housing costs was a major draw. The benefit of remaining within the prestigious Windsor orbit further solidified this arrangement. All factors pointed toward a seemingly permanent living situation. There was also a significant reputational component for Ferguson. Following her divorce, she diligently worked to rebuild her public image. This involved publishing books, engaging in charity work, and pursuing various media projects. Being based at Windsor provided a crucial sense of continuity. It offered a stable public identity, positioning her as more royal adjacent than merely an ex-partner in limbo, as some might suggest. Speculation has long suggested that Sarah Ferguson possessed secrets. These secrets could potentially have held sway over Andrew and even the wider royal family. Alternatively, they might have been deeply intertwined in shared circumstances. This is where the narrative takes an intriguing turn. The king's brother is now formally stripped of his princely style. Buckingham Palace released a statement confirming this. It announced His Majesty has today initiated a formal process to remove the style, titles, and honors of Prince Andrew. This declaration marks a definitive and historic moment. Sarah Ferguson's recent sale of her London townhouse gains new significance in this context. The sale occurred precisely when questions surrounding Royal Lodge and Andrew's royal standing were intensifying. On one level, this transaction could be interpreted as a shrewd strategic move. The liquidity generated from the sale provides her with increased options and financial flexibility. On another level, the timing invites considerable speculation. Was this a proactive safeguard, anticipating future changes? Or was it a reactive measure, taken after the full implications of the situation became clear? Regardless, the stage is now set for her next chapter. The possible next residences for Ferguson are now a subject of intense discussion. Some suggestions include smaller properties located on or near the expansive Windsor estate. However, such options would likely face intense public and media scrutiny. A more probable route involves Ferguson transitioning fully into private accommodation. This could be either in London or in a quieter location outside the capital. With the townhouse sale completed, She now possesses the flexibility to pursue privacy and autonomy. This signals an impending era of greater independence for her. This situation represents an emotional pivot for the monarchy. It involves separating Andrew from all elements of title and style. These are privileges typically retained by those born into the royal family for their entire lives. Ferguson has historically balanced loyalty to Andrew as a father and former partner, with a pragmatic drive to cultivate her own public brand. However, the incentives have now fundamentally shifted. Without Andrew's titles and with the Royal Lodge lease under attack, the practical benefits of cohabitation significantly diminish. If her primary motive was stability, the current calculation now points in an entirely different direction. Staying could now mean considerable reputational risk. Leaving, conversely, could offer a path to liberation. Royal Lodge offered comfort, undeniable prestige, and significant fiscal advantages. Continuing to reside alongside Andrew long after their divorce carried tangible practical benefits. With his titles now gone and the property's understanding becoming a stark reality, Ferguson's financial independence becomes even more critical. The previous benefits have shrunk considerably. If Ferguson ever needed a moment to define herself entirely on her own terms, this is undeniably that moment. Did she remain for love, loyalty, or lifestyle? If lifestyle was the primary driver, then the equation has now irrevocably changed. The question of public accountability also looms large. While some might deem shouting at an elderly man inappropriate, there are legitimate forums for asking difficult questions. The king, as head of the institution, could offer his perspective in such settings. This contrasts sharply with public outbursts, such as those witnessed during the Queen's funeral or directed at Prince Andrew behind the coffin. These incidents highlight the public's desire for answers. With the eviction notice formally served, a complex process now unfolds. The palace and the Crown Estate will engage in negotiations. These will cover timelines for vacating, necessary repairs, and the precise terms of Andrew's departure. Andrew will likely seek compensation or alternative housing arrangements. However, after this decisive move, the leverage firmly rests with the institution. For Ferguson, the clock is undeniably ticking. She faces a critical choice: maintain the shared address, or make a definitive move toward her own independent future. Ferguson's public brand has evolved through many phases. She has been a rediscovered author, a charity patron, a television figure, and a continuing royal presence. A clean break from Royal Lodge could provide the reset she so clearly needs. It could position her as a self-made individual, rather than one defined by her residential address. If she navigates this moment wisely, this could prove to be the most compelling chapter of her public life yet. Meanwhile, the implications extend to their daughters, vacant daughters, Beatrice and Eugenie. They are observing these developments closely. Both have established their own public lives, careers, and families. Reports indicate they were blindsided by the rapid pace of the events. Any appearance of special treatment for them will undoubtedly attract intense public and media scrutiny. Their roles within the royal sphere may now become quieter. They may need to recalibrate what the York brand will signify in the future. Andrew's titles are gone. Royal Lodge is now off the table. The practical reasons that once kept Sarah Ferguson under that roof have significantly weakened. The optics of continued cohabitation are fraught with difficulty. If she chooses independence, is the moment to fully embrace it. The historical weight of royal disinheritance and the modern demand for accountability converge in this singular event. It forces a re-evaluation of what it means to be royal, or royal adjacent in the contemporary era.